Clean and service the garage heater. This is a TPI H474TMC heater. It is a 4,000 watt heater on 220, and I believe it claims to be around 14,000 BTU. I'm not sure how old this is. I picked this up a couple years ago, new old stock. I think it's got some age to it. And I've used this in the garage for the last couple years. And aside from being expensive to operate, which is no fault of the heater, it works quite well in there. We are now into the second week of November, and this is the first time that I've really wanted to have the heat running in there. It's been very windy the last couple of days, and it's dropped the temperature a little below 60 in there. I like to keep it around 60 at minimum. So we'll set this up and use it in there again this year. I was hoping to have a heat pump in there instead this year, but that was not financially feasible to acquire. So we're going to use this one again. I don't have a 220 outlet here in the studio. That's on the list of things to set up so we can test things like this here at the bench. So we'll have to take it into the garage for the final test to make sure that it works properly still. So we'll just give it a quick cleaning and put a couple drops of oil in the motor, and it should be good to go. The garage is typically the last room in the house that needs heat. The living room has been heated for the last couple months. Had the heat down here in the studio for a month or two now. The garage is block, and the vehicle door is insulated. I paid extra for insulated door, which was well worth it. So it holds the heat pretty good, especially compared to the rest of the house. Alright, so here's the inside of the unit. It's actually kind of dirty, so we'll have to do some cleaning here. I have no idea what that was. Something just fell. We'll begin with some vacuuming just to try to not make a total mess here in the studio. Got a little more dust on the inside here and some dust on here, so we'll vacuum that out as well. It will start to kind of fall apart once the front cover is removed, because that holds the whole assembly in place. So I'm just going to blow this out with some compressed air, and then we're going to put the front back on so that it doesn't just keep falling apart as we're trying to work here. Okay, let's get the front back in place. This can be a little difficult to line up because the screws have to pass through these holes, then those holes on this, the whole unit, and then the holes on the case. Sometimes you have to kind of go from the back and hold it up, and then get it back in place like this by moving it from the back. This is the only part of this process that's just a royal pain in the neck. Actually, that wasn't too bad. Oh, some years it goes easier than others. But see, you do have to make sure that you get both of them, because for instance, right now, this might look like it's lined up, but it's not, because the bottom part, is the inside housing is not there. So now the inside housing is there as well. And then you just, no, see it dropped. And get the inside part there. Now we have both. There's a little hole there, we'll try to get this in. And it dropped. See if we can get it. We got it. You know, it probably would have been easier to do that with the machine laying down flat like this. Yeah, that would make it a lot easier. Now we know for next year. Alright, now we're going to lubricate the motor, which is actually pretty easy on this one because the motor has oil ports like it should. I do want to clean the blade a little bit. There's a little, it's a common screw. It's for the set screw there. Let's see if we can take that off and just drop the blade down to clean it. Good. It's not too dirty, but there is some dust on the edges, so we'll just go ahead and clean this off and then put it back. Okay, good enough. A little bit of oil spray on there, but that's not a big deal. Slip it back on the motor now. Or actually, it might be easier to oil the motor with the blade removed. Give us slightly easier access to the front port. Alright, so our oil ports are right here. They're not very good ones, but they exist. It's going to spill because these ports are too small. Try to add it a little more slowly. It's a tiny little hole to work with. I think I'm just going to take it off to get to the front. It's easy enough to do. It's a lock washer and a nut that goes on the front. You want to start threading the washer right away because the bolt will stop, or not the washer, you want to thread the nut on right away. The bolt will stop, it tightens to the front of the motor, and then you have to tighten the bolt from the front, so it's a little more difficult. Kind of an odd design, but... And one of the washers has gone underneath here now, and I can't get it. There it is. Well, we lost the lock washer. Sometimes it's easier to put the bolt all the way in so you have more space to work with. And you can get this on a little bit easier, and then I like to back it back out to thread it in deeper, and then we'll tighten the bolt, or we'll tighten the nut afterwards. So we want to make these about symmetrically tight. If the shaft binds up, you just have to kind of tap it with the screwdriver a bit to realign the bearings. It's pretty free. I think everything is copacetic in that department. Yeah, that seems pretty good. All right, now the fun part of getting these bolts tightened up. A little adjustable wrench is probably your best bet, and mine is MIA. Oh, that's not going to work. How have I done this in the past? You know what I probably did in the past is I went in with the screwdriver from the front. That's what we'll have to do. And I guess this will give me a chance to prove my theory of it being easier to do this with the thing lying flat on the table. Okay, that 100% is the best way to do it. All right, now let's see if this is landslides easier doing it with the thing on the ground or lying flat. I think it will be because the screws look like they're all lined up properly. Well, look at that. We learned something today. And I'll probably forget it by the time this needs to be serviced again next year. Good grief. Okay, so now the motor is tight, the bearings are spinning free, they're lubricated. Let's get this blade back onto the unit. So there's a flat spot on the shaft that the set screw has to align on. See the flat part here at the center of the screen. And here's the set screw. I think it's a little bit too far forwards. Okay, so now I have the set screw just slightly loose, and you can tell that it's within the slotted part because it will only move forward and back so much. So we know that we're in the right spot now. So I'll tighten this down. I don't have to go crazy tight. You know, this is not a high-speed large fan. It's not going to come off as long as it's reasonably snug. And as you can see, the bearings are in good condition, nicely lubricated. Okay, so now we'll just wipe out any extra grime that's in the bottom here. Got some melamine foam. Just wipe off that junk on the sides here. I don't know what that is. And down there, we'll get all that cleaned out. Clean all this off on the side here. And there we go, the inside's pretty clean. So we'll close this back up now. Maybe next year we'll pull all these electronics out and try to clean it up a little bit more. Just blast a little compressed air in there. There's a little bit of dust in there. Nothing too crazy though. This is a pretty tight fit on the back to get this in all the way. And now we'll just wipe down the sides with the melamine foam. Make this a little bit cleaner. I gotta get some more water on this melamine foam. It's dried out because it's so dry in the house. I'll have to get some new pieces of tape for this. Okay, let's get it in the garage. This is where the heater normally lives. Whoops, that's great. We gotta switch out from the dehumidifiers to the heater. And the room is particularly cluttered because it turned into a giant Christmas lights repair shop a couple days ago. Alright, so this is where the heater goes. It just sits right here. Gotta get this out of the way. Put all this stuff here so I can't get in the car later. Normally the car is moved over a little bit, but it's over this way a little more because I had to get the ladder out. And then I have a 220 30 amp to 20 amp adapter up here, which actually comes in handy because the cord just barely doesn't reach the outlet. That's as high up as it'll go, so the extra length of this adapter is perfect. And temperature wise, give us a little bit more. Oh, I didn't plug in the outlet. I plugged in the outlet. Now the indicator is on. It should run this time. It's a real neon indicator. It is working properly, putting out some good heat. And again, it's not normally this close to the vehicle because it's usually moved over probably 2 feet. But it's like this because I needed to get the ladder out. Okay, this is ready for another season of reliable operation with basic maintenance.